Peace, blessings, and all things progressive. It's your brother from another mother, back with another video. Okay, so in the last video, we talked about transportation and transformation. Okay, if you didn't catch that video, go ahead and catch up on that video. It's very important, and it's going to be the precept for this video. Okay, so to understand this video fully, you're going to need to go back and watch that video. Transportation and transformation. Okay. In this video, I'm talking about transformation of spirituality. Okay. So that's why it's important to understand the last video, so you understand the transportation portion, so we understand how this relates to our spirituality. All right. Excuse me. So everything evolves, and in order for it to evolve, it has to be transported to its new state. Hence, we talked about transformation. Okay. A transformation is a form of evolution, or vice versa. For something to evolve, it had to transform, had to move from one state to the next, and now it's transformed. And if it's, some people call that evolution, evolved. Hopefully, evolution means for the better, hopefully, because someone can evolve into something bad. Okay, so just understanding that transforming and evolving are very similar, if not the same thing. Okay, so this is important to spirituality, because what is spirituality? Okay, I would define it as simply our belief system that connect us to everybody, everything, and God. I'll say that again. I believe it's our belief systems that connect us to everybody, everything, and God. That's spirituality. So practicing your spirituality would be practicing how you connect to everybody, everything, and God. All right. And people have been practicing spirituality forever. I mean, it's a human, or a man, from my experience, is just a spiritual person. Okay. We connect to the unseen. Most things in the spiritual world, they call it the spiritual world, the unseen world, the world of emotions, the world of imagination, the world of air, and all the signals and things that we can't see but are real. Okay, that whole world, people consider the spiritual world. Okay, so in the States, or in America, before it became America, and there was people all over the world, and these older tribes who practiced spirituality. From what we can see, or from what movies teach us, and from what life teaches us, there's always the older spiritualistic practice, like the natives, the tattoos and the feathers and the bonfire and the rituals. You know, these were all forms of spirituality, you know, connecting to the unseen. All right. Now, as the world evolves, or there's a transportation of spirituality, like, how do I say this? Okay. All right, let's start. Let me rewind a little bit. Transporting an idea to paper, we'll just write it down, and there's instruments to write it down, right? Like an ink pen. Well, the ink pen has evolved. We used to have ink and a feather, and you dip the feather in the ink, and then you write. That process has been transported since then to an ink pen, like ballpoint, the ink. We don't no longer need a feather. We have a plastic device with the ink in it and the metal tip that just enough ink comes out and allows you to write, or a wooden pencil with a lead center and it allows you to write. Writing or scribing has since transformed or evolved, okay? And that's important because we can do things faster when we evolve. Like transportation itself, the original concept of transporting, driving, walking, all of that has evolved. Maybe not walking, but because now we have shoes that we didn't have back then. So yes, of course, yes, even walking. Everything has evolved. So the cars, since they were first created to now, have been constantly evolving, getting faster and better and more efficient. So same thing with writing. Faster and better and more efficient as we come up with new writing tools, to the point where we can just say, hey, yo, Siri, write this down. Hey, yo, Bixby, write this down. We don't even need ink and paper anymore. We have technology, okay? So everything is constantly evolving, right? So we think about spirituality. Of course, spirituality would evolve. Our spirit, our soul, our connections to everybody, everything, and God has evolved. We went from doing one thing to another to try to get the same goal, and that's connection with God, the universe, and everyone else, okay? That our connection with everything, with the all, okay? That has evolved. That system of connecting with God has evolved, okay? I don't know in detail what we used to do in the past, okay? Like I said, we got movies, we have books, we have hearsay, but we can imagine, based on these things, how we used to connect to God, okay, with our rituals. And yeah, it gets deep. So if we used to have to use devices or rocks or animals or some sort of device to connect to God, and we don't now, there had to have been a evolution of something for us to have, for our spirituality to have been evolved. Like, why? I know some people still practice old rituals in order to connect with God and their spirituality. But now we have all these quote unquote religions that are supposed to be doing the same thing, but they're not, okay? And in this video, I'm not gonna go too in detail about religion or anything like that. I'm just kind of focusing on the evolution of spirituality. So how we used to practice spirituality and now, okay? And now, wherever it used to be, now the most famous and common practice of spirituality is Christianity, or to be like Christ. That is the most widely spread form of spirituality being practiced. Now, a lot of people don't agree with it, and to each his own, okay? To each his own. With these videos, I hope to help the viewer gain understanding, and that they will understand Christ and then hopefully get the gift that he gives, okay? But neither here nor there. So let's go to the Bible. Let's talk about the Bible for a little bit. I'm gonna be real quick with this, so you might want to listen. In the Old Testament, in a form of practicing spirituality, there used to be a sacrifice, okay? They had to sacrifice the blood of a lamb, okay? And that was for your protection, okay? Your spirituality, your home was protected back then based on the slaughtering of the lamb, taking the blood, put it in a basin, which was a bowl, taking this plant, which is like called hyssop, and you dip the hyssop in the blood, and you would put the blood on the entry to your house, okay, like your doorway, like the handle and around the door, not on the floor though, but just like in the door handles, okay. And what this did was it protected you, okay. Like the God would see the blood, and you're good. You were saved. All right. This is how you and your family and your tribe was saved back in the Old Testament in the day of Moses. Okay. And the purpose of Christ was to fulfill scripture, which was so that people wouldn't have to do this anymore. You wouldn't have to sacrifice the lamb and the blood and spread it, all that. The purpose of Jesus was so that you wouldn't have to do this anymore, okay? So when Jesus died and his blood was spilled, this was the last lamb or the last sacrifice to save men, okay? No longer do we have to get hyssop and spread any blood, because now Jesus's blood was the blood of the lamb, and the spreading of the hyssop is the spreading of the word. Okay. That's too deep. That's too deep. Oh man, this is too deep. I'm gonna need some time to break this down. I'm actually have to go into the Bible and break down scripture for you to actually understand this concept. But the evolution of spirituality has went from 0 to 100 real quick. For the better, though. For the better. Okay? So people who say, like, they upset at Christianity and they want to practice their old tribal rituals, well, that's like you're holding up your spirituality by doing that, holding on to old practices. And what I mean by that is you're riding a horse on the freeway. Everybody else is in cars. You're dipping feathers in ink, and everybody else is, hey, Siri, write this. You know what I'm saying? So, like, spirituality has evolved, okay? And it's evolved for the better, okay, in my opinion, which could be horrible, right? Because I'm a nobody. I'm just some random dude on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever this is. And trying to help you the best way I can with this understanding. So anyway, yes, when you think old tribal rituals and you want to hold on to those, and you want to even add in black people this and white people that, all those concepts, you're riding horses on the freeway. You're writing with feathers and ink when you do these things and when you mention these things, because nowadays we're not doing that. We got about to have flying cars here, bucko. Okay? Flying shoes in a minute. And you riding horses. Okay? Talking about black people. What is a black person? What are you talking about? Okay? We're divine beings here. Okay? Children of God here. All of us. No matter what color you are. So what are you talking about when you're talking about black people? You holding us back. Okay? And when I say us, I'm talking about mankind. You're holding mankind back. You're holding man back. Okay, when you talk about any of these things, when I don't believe in that. Okay, don't believe in it. So we're going to go over here with our flying shoes and then go gallop your horse on the freeway. You know, you can go ahead and write your 100-page essay with your ink and your feather, while I'm going to have ChatGPT go ahead and do this in 5 seconds. Okay, we're talking about efficiency here. So transportation is important, even for your spirituality. The transportation of your spirit, okay? High hopes for the future, your understanding of your connection with everybody else. That evolves, okay? It has evolved. We're in the future right now, okay? And we have to understand that. We're not in the past, okay? So, the importance of The transportation of spirituality. I hope I hit home a little bit. I'll probably go in more detail on Patreon. Okay. So, peace, blessings, all things progressive. Your brother from another mother. And I'll see you in the next video.